I'm Hannah Hunter. I'm a rehab physician here at Fred Hutchinson Cancer Center and also lead our oncology rehab team. Exercise is one thing that we can all do to improve our overall health. And it doesn't have to be too complicated. So we're going to go through some exercises that I like to refer to as exercise snacks that you can incorporate into your daily routine to break up periods of working at your computer or watching television. There are exercises that you can do without any equipment that you can do just using a chair or lying in bed, or you can do standing.
I really like snacking, so
yeah.
I'm looking forward to
throw
this.
In some snacks. So my first and most favorite exercise is a sit-to-stand, or a variation of a sit-to-stand, because it's something that we do on a daily basis. It's something that we need to be able to do to get out of bed, to get out of a chair, to get in and out of a car. So a sit-to-stand is a variation of a squat. So I'm going to have you seated in your great posture. So great start. And as you go from sitting to standing, you're going to focus on not letting your knees come in. You're going to keep them stacked in line with your hips and slowly stand. Perfect. And equally important, we want a slow and controlled descent. Perfect. And I'm going to have you stand again. Okay. Great. In terms of things that we want to avoid any falling into the chair.
Like that.
Example of what not to do.
Or like that.
Yes. So we want to keep everything slow and controlled to keep it an exercise. And as you're going from sitting to standing and standing to sitting, you're activating muscles around the hips and around your glutes to control that movement. And as you're doing repetitions of it, it's a great exercise to strengthen those muscles, but also increase your heart rate a little bit.
Yeah, let's see, what's my heart rate? 111.
Perfect. Great.
Cool.
If doing this activity is a little bit challenging, we can make modifications to make it a little bit easier to do at home. Say one, if you're sitting in a chair with armrests, you can use your arms to push up from the armrest to help with the sitting to standing as well as the standing to sitting movement. If that's a little bit challenging, you can always hold on to a chair to do a mini version of a squat. And you can do this holding onto a counter in the kitchen or just holding onto a stable piece of furniture. Where similarly, you're going to keep your knees stacked over your hips and bend a little bit at the waist as if you're going to sit down in the chair and then stand back up. Perfect. And a more challenging version of this exercise is to get rid of the chair completely and to do a variation of a squat or an air squat, where you're still going to keep your knees stacked over your ankles and your hips and kind of push your hips back as if you're going to sit into a chair and then slowly stand back up. And similarly, you're working those same muscle groups around your thighs, around your core, and around your hips to do this movement.
Cool.
Great. Another exercise snack is more so focused on the upper body.
Okay.
With all the time we spend sitting or doing work at a computer or on our phones, our bodies like to come forward, particularly our shoulders. So we want to find an exercise that really works on the opposite movement of squeezing your shoulder blades back together. So one way to just activate the muscle is just squeezing the shoulder blades back as if there is a piece of fruit or a pencil or a piece of paper in between these shoulder blades and relax. And you can do that again and squeezing those shoulder blades like there's something squished in between them. Perfect. One way to make it a little bit more challenging is to get the arms involved. So I call this a field goal exercise. So you're going to start with your arms in a field goal position and you're going to squeeze your elbows like they're coming in towards your ribs as you're squeezing those shoulder blades together. Great, and back up as a field goal.
You want me to show from the back?
Perfect. So you're going to squeeze those elbows down towards your ribs as you're squeezing those shoulder blades back together and back down. So in this movement, I like to think of the shoulder blades kind of squeezing down and back together and hold and relax. Perfect.
Is that like stretching and exercising? Because it feels like it's like a workout, but also like I'm stretching.
It is, because we're stretching the front part of the chest, which often gets tight from us being in this hunched posture. So it's stretching the front part of the chest while activating the muscles in the upper back.
Nice.
So great job.
It feels really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is also an exercise you can throw in when you feel like your body's hunching forward or you feel like your shoulders are getting tight, to open up the chest and squeeze those shoulder blades back together. Another exercise snack is focused back on the hips in terms of engaging in an activity that we don't typically do during the day. A lot of what we do is back and forth or forwards and backwards, such as walking or even biking. But it's really important to engage hip muscles that are involved in stability. So this movement involves some lateral movement of the hips, so we'll stand. And you can do this by holding onto a stable piece of furniture for support. With the leg closest to the piece of furniture is going to be the stable leg. And then you're going to focus on slowly lifting the opposite leg out to the side. Perfect. I'm going to ask you to try to keep your upper body as still as possible. So less swaying, perfect. And back down. And as you're doing that, do you feel some muscles activate around your hips?
I feel like my hips are like,
Great.
stacking on top.
And so this movement's really important because it involves muscles involved in stability and balance. And we can actually make this exercise a little bit harder by moving to the yoga mat.
Okay.
So when you're standing, we're activating the muscles, but we're not fully lifting the leg against gravity. When you're laying on your side like this, you're going to do the same movement of keeping that leg parallel to the other, but lifting it up towards the ceiling and back down. Perfect. And do you feel like this is a little bit more challenging?
Yeah, definitely. Does it matter? Should I keep my leg pointed, or does it matter?
Ideally, you want to keep your feet kind of parallel to each other, to the point where you feel like the muscles are being activated on the outside of your hip.
Yeah, because that feels like it works the inside of my hip more when I do it.
It can. So it's definitely activating different muscles around the hip and even the opposite hip to keep it stable.
Yeah.
But you're also getting the benefit of activating muscles around your core and your abdomen, which is preventing your hips from rocking forward and back. So as you're doing this exercise, you want to try not to let your hips rock forward or rock back and keep that leg nice and stable.
Yeah. I'm doing it like it's not even that high, but it's like a good workout, even though I'm just moving like a foot.
So similar to the sit to stand, we want this to be a slow and controlled movement. So as you lift your leg up towards the ceiling, your body's not rocking back and forth, and you're not letting your leg kind of collapse back onto the other.
Like that.
Yes. So slow and controlled is the way to go.
So if people like even just can only go up like that, is that okay?
Yeah, so it's not necessarily about doing more range of motion, but if you can feel the muscle activate, I would say you're getting benefit from the exercise.
Yeah.
Great.
Cool.
Yeah. And if it's a little bit easier, you can bend that bottom knee.
Oh yeah, so you have like more
a little bit more stability. So if you bend that bottom knee, you have a little bit of a wider base of support, but you still get benefit from the exercise of the moving top leg.
Yeah, wow, that's tiring.
Yeah, we should have you switch sides to even them out.
Thank you for talking to me today.
Yeah.
And showing me these exercise snacks that I can incorporate into my exercise routine.
I think we can all do a little bit more exercise snacking.
We can all do a little more exercise snacking.